check, check. Quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hearing you loud and clear, Coach Jay, um, on this fine Friday afternoon.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. This is your first time here. I'm Coach Jay. Actually, that's not how we start this. This is your first time here. The goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. May review some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we could take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I am Coach Jay. I'm a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 12 years and in the futures markets for the past, my volume's low, in the futures markets for the past 6 years. And that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been in trading in the futures industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experience, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. You are all our chat, our audience. Thank you for joining us on this Friday. Let us know how your week went. Were you up on the week, down on the week? Anything that you learned from this week? For me, overall, it was a red week. But we live to trade another day uh, and another week. How was
Another
your week?
week.
Another week.
We had a good week. Um, there was a lot of chop in there, but overall, um, I had a decent week. I think I could do better, but um, I took what I could. Um, so crazy week, says
Oh, look.
F.
Yeah.
Sharma. Yeah, I agree. And equities choppy. That's where I didn't do well. And I don't do well in choppy markets, but I also don't get killed. So
Yeah.
that was a drag on my performance, but it is the summer, and
Yes, it is.
equities are famous for being choppy in the summer. So,
Samson says, I had my best week ever, ended green every day, and just requested a nice payout. Thanks to Topstep TV, Slow
yeah,
Markets, and At the Buzzer for helping me learn so much. Samson, love to hear that. Best week ever. Keep it going,
congratulations.
right? And if it's your best week ever, don't go into next week saying, "Hey, I need to top that one." If the market conditions facilitate that, go ahead and do it. Kill it again. But that is a nice week, putting real money in your pockets. Congrats. Uh, when did we get out of the chop post summer? Uh, Good question. I think traditionally it's when kids go back to school uh, in September, right? Maybe after Labor Day. But if we look at last summer, it wasn't really a traditional summer as far as you would think trading goes. And I don't know that this summer is going to be either. I feel like we have some volatility around the corner, especially with the some of the headlines we see coming out towards the end of the day. So let's get into that. The headline I'm talking about are posts about Powell considering resignation. Uh, it looked like I'm pretty sure it was a White House official, it came from somewhere that looked like a pretty official source. Jack mentioned it on Topstep TV that it's interesting to post a rumor about someone considering a resignation. Uh, but here we are. These are the times. Uh, as far
I
as
didn't
plan,
even know that.
yeah, it came out towards the end of the day. Uh,
A
Came
lot
out
of
towards the
bonds
end of
were
the.
down almost a handle and a half.
If he resigns, Coach Paul, what happens?
I think that the credit markets, treasuries will get hit hard. It's a
Yep.
politi- in my it's a politicization of the credit markets, and that is not good. That will shake confidence. And my feeling is they're doing this, and this is politics. So I'm not a politician,
Right.
but the politics are they want them out, and so they're going to create some drama to get them out.
And
Um,
that drama, the statement from chairman of the board of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, William J. Pulte, on reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. I'm encouraged by reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. I think this will be right. This will be the right decision for America, and the economy will boom.
So it sounds like someone who wants to become the next Fed chair. That's my take, at least.
Right.
I just hate to see that the politics um, taking shape in the Fed. It's a
Not the
neutral
place for
place.
it.
I
Right.
don't want my banker to be a politician. I'll
Mm.
just leave it at that.
Hey, there's a lot going on here. A lot going on. Anything else you have on the news, Coach Paul? I think we did have some new tariffs announced last night. There was a sell off.
Yeah, and that we really didn't recover from that. That
We
really,
didn't.
well, I took a little hit there on the Canadian dollar. Was looking great until that 50% tariff to
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's not friendly. And really, equities never recovered. We rallied from being 50 down to being 35 down, 25 down. But yeah, this is not news that the market is taking as stability. As a matter of
Mm.
fact, I think it's the complete op. This is instability.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
This
I think so. I'm looking at it now. Trump to impose 35% tariff on goods from China. Oh, sorry, from Canada. 35%. And I agree with you, Coach Ball, where I thought we were moving towards an environment where we are seeing deals made on some of these tariffs, but then we're just hearing more tariffs announced. And it doesn't seem like there's any rhyme or reason to when they're announced or why they're announced, right? They just kind of come out, there's a headline. That doesn't sound like stability. I would agree with you. So, uh,
Yeah, look at the candles. You see these huge candles pop out of nowhere.
yeah,
That's when say some people are struggling this week. Well, when you're if the risks are starting to expand, especially in the short term.
yes, they are.
Look at that.
Let's take a look at the. Oh, I just realized I'm sharing the wrong screen. I have the quote board up on another screen. There are 35 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts, and today to the downside, we had Ultra Bonds in third place, down 1.43%. The Russell down 1.49%, and wheat futures, our biggest percentage mover to the downside at 1.62%. To the upside, we had platinum up 4.28%. Huge move in platinum today. Silver up 4.89%. Silver, micro Ethereum snuck in there. I told you guys, micro Ethereum is always going to be in
Wow.
that top percentage mover, up 6.61%. So with max leverage, you probably could have made about $140 on, on micro Ethereum. But micro Bitcoin also a pretty big mover, making new all time highs. Spot Bitcoin making new all time highs as well, up 3.93%. Uh, Pretty
Boy,
big moves there.
those big moves came in what? Metals and
Hmm.
crypto.
Metals and crypto.
And that's where the uncertainty, that's now that money's moving there. Um the Federal Reserve is going to lose its independence. Uh, there's going to be a price to be paid. And
Mm.
that's not something that can be controlled easily. So, um it's going to get even crazier. it's that I can say.
Buckle up. Buckle up.
Buckle up, buttercup.
Micro Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is just it's where all the money's
Unrestrained
going.
rally. Yeah.
Where all the money is going. To round out our big four, we have crude oil, huge move in crude, up 2.97%. The S&P down 0.47%. Gold up 1.35, and the Nasdaq down 0.34% to round out our big four. Let's take a look at an S&P chart on a daily. Take a look at the weekly, since we
Yeah.
are at the end of the week. What are we looking at? Still higher lows on the weekly and a
Yeah,
higher
let's
high.
yep. By by the fewest of margins, it looks like. But look at the range, this small range. We're talking about, choppy markets. Well, when you have a small range like that, most likely it's going to be in some chop. Let's mark um this week's low um as a key point. Like, I think if we break this week's low next week, we're going to get a lot of pressure because the the range is to the upside for a healthy rally. it should be following through, right? If it was healthy, but it's not.
Right.
It's still, and now we're getting a compressed range, so needs to go. I don't think with all this other background, if bonds start to break, and they can break more than that you'll expect, um, you could see a nice break from here. Um, I would expect this market to be that chart to have looked better.
Yeah.
But I don't. It's we still have all as always have incomplete information. But looking at the weekly, this week's low is going to be very important. I don't think this market can accept any kind of pressure on it, and especially if the bonds yields start rising.
Yeah, we are pretty extended on the weekly. We did have this huge week up towards the end of June there. Uh, Maybe a little bit of a retracement into that. Let's take a look at the daily really quick. Again, we're extended from that 20 moving average, 100 points away from it. Nice little healthy pullback would probably be welcome in these markets to find some new buyers because they're hesitant up here making these all time highs. Where we made all time highs this week, but it didn't do it convincingly, right? And we've talked about, it's summer markets, the slow grind up, but you're going to need to attract some new buyers, give them a reason to buy these markets, and maybe better prices would do that. Pull back to maybe 6200s. Let's take a look at today's price action. Here Here is last night's open, and really wasn't a great trade until the market just started selling off. Shout out to Baron. Baron caught a short in the Nasdaq. He caught this short on a shorter time frame. Saw some volume coming in once we peaked above this 30-minute opening range. Couldn't find any buyers, and caught most of this short in the Nasdaq. Look at where we went to though. The white line, and we chopped around the rest of the day in this range, in this pretty big range on this 30-minute candle. That was the range for the day. That is when the Trump Canada tariffs were announced, and just chop around from there. Decent enough range to trade, though, right? Big enough range to trade where if we're gonna chop, there's opportunity for buyers and sellers in this market. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
Yeah, I find it interesting to make that announcement in the evening like that.
Hmm.
Like that couldn't have been made um, a-
Before the market closed or after the market
dur-
opened?
during market hours.
Right.
But look at the size, and we never recovered. Now that to me is in the short term very bearish.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'd be
so
looking at. I mean, we can see it. This 50% of this candle, we come up, check it a couple of times, but we can't find any buyers above that. 6307 is that price, and it's been kind of the high of the range this week. Upper extreme, somewhere in the middle of the range this week.
yeah, when we sat and really didn't there wasn't great volume.
Right,
Um, you would expect. I think people are shying away now. They're like, how many of us would get chopped down? Like I'm done.
right. Let's see how many more tariff announcements we get over the weekend. Anne Marie and Mohammed will be doing the market kickoff on Sunday. Let's see. Do we gap up? Do we gap down? Do we get headlines that move the markets over the weekend? Do we get more tariff announcements? We will find out on Sunday when these markets open up. Uh, Not too much to talk about during the New York session. A lot of back and forth action, kind of chopping in that range. So we'll leave that at that. Anything else you have on the equities, Coach Paul? I want to take a look at the Russell really quick.
Yeah, Rusty did not act well. Um, let's take a look from last night. Look at that daily. We're still above the 200, but look at the
Mm,
range to the downside. Um, still go back and test the 200, but after we saw yesterday's action, that just died out real quick. Um, Not bearish yet, but that did not that acted poorly.
Hmm.
Let's look at the half-hour action from this morning.
Most of the sell-off, and we can see it. We'll just mark out this candle because it did affect all of the markets. We saw the S&P hang out in this range. The Russell said, "Nope, we're good. We're trending lower." I think the Nasdaq hung out in this range as well. But here's the first half hour from the New York session, and sellers were just in control pretty much all day here.
Yeah, and look at how we ended.
Yep, on the lows, ending
We
it
couldn't
on the
even
lows.
Yeah, we couldn't even get a J trade in. Every big selling candle
Continuation.
with volume is continuation. Very, very heavy. Um, and look at that 20 bar moving average and VWAP right along with it. Um, it seems that all the recent buyers were
Maybe took some
regretting their
profits.
buying. Yeah, we're
Maybe
just
took some
said,
profits,
never
or
mind, hit
scared.
me out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Actually, you know what? Let me buy gold instead, or Bitcoin. Let me buy Bitcoin. Better returns there. Uh,
All right.
all right, let's take a look at the Dow really quick. The Dow rejected that range as well, and Nasdaq
But looked
settled in that
very much
range.
like Rusty.
Yeah, very yeah. So S&Ps and the S&Ps and the Nasdaq looking very much the same. Dow and the Russell selling off. We did see the Dow and the Russell earlier this week kind of lead us upward. They were the biggest percentage movers to the upside. Also, the biggest percentage movers to the downside today in the equities. All right, let's move on to gold on a weekly chart. What are we seeing here?
Oh, as we've seen some support on weekly is a little different. We know we've discussed this sideways movement after the blow off top, but on that weekly, we're holding the 20 bar moving average, 1, 2, 3 weeks in a row. Coach, let me ask you: would you consider that support?
It looks like it, yeah. Gold has tried to break down through this 3,300 level a couple of times. It's traded 3,300 in the last 3 weeks, at least once, and we're seeing sellers get rejected there. It's the low of this range, and it's the low. I mean, we're going back, and this is rollover adjusted, but traded 3,300 this 3,300 price the same week we made that all time high, and we keep finding buyers there. Uh, yeah, that looks like support to me. Uh, had to
Let's
support and resistance textbook. I think that's support.
As a support. Let's look at the daily. And the 20 hasn't crossed. It's still across the 50, still above it. And as we talk about support, that, that 20 and the 50 are right on top of each other. This market is going to move, to my my analysis, violently away from this area. Um, it's starting to believe it's going to be the upside.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Trying to look here
Oh, do we have a J trade
on the
on the
daily.
daily? Yeah,
What are you
yes, we
looking at
do.
here?
Um, yep. No, the latest one.
We closed
Yeah,
above it.
what
We
is that
closed
over?
above it.
Average volume. We closed above it. We're above the 20, 50, and the 200. I don't want to. I want to buy it. I'm leaning towards a buying,
Yeah, gold
especially
had some.
looking at that weekly.
Right.
It
That
gives you a
weekly looks
different
extremely
perspective.
bullish.
Yeah.
That weekly looks extremely bullish. Take a look at the half hour. Gold had a really nice trend last night uh, from the open. Here's our open in gold. Pretty small range. And who asked the question in that? Billy. Is Asia back to buying gold? It's kind of where it started. Kind of where it started. Here's the Asia session open. Of course, we did have, the Canada tariff news, which was this handle right here. right? That's Canada tariffs, but it held that range and just left, right? So uh, at least last night, Billy, it did look like Asia was back to buying gold, and that VWAP was supportive the entire time. I was awake for Aaron's session. I don't know why I was up at 2:30 in the morning, but I was. And Aaron called out a pretty nice short in gold. Kind of looked like we had this double top here uh, on a 30 minute. Kind of a short right back into VWAP, but look at how supportive this VWAP was. And that trade was good for 10 points. But that VWAP was extremely supportive, and the volume kind of just died to the sell side underneath. It didn't just run right away, but extremely supportive. We had the urgency to start the day, and they kind of never gave it up.
Yeah, it was being accumulated. Every
Yep.
time I went down there, that's the bid. So when we look at what the function of VWAP is, it's not a technical indicator. Like, it sounds like blasphemy. It's not. This is an algorithm that institutions use to allocate large orders. So the large orders and be executed during the day. Every time it went down, right after we broke out of that opening range, we went down there to get accumulated and bought. I mean, how many times? I mean, 10 times.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
so actually, that firms up my belief this market's about to get some giddy up and go to the upside. Like there was a lot of buying there. I'd love to see the open interest
Oh yeah.
on Monday.
Yep. Hogue will be talking about that, the open interest in all of the markets that we trade. If we added open interest in a market that's moving to the upside, uh, that means that some people are coming in here buying and maybe holding on to those positions. Yeah, it looks pretty bullish.
Yeah,
Looks pretty bullish. We're starting to get that separation as well on the 30 minute with the 200 moving average.
yeah,
Kind of we're above it. The 20 and the 50 are starting to trend uh, upwards. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Looks
yeah.
pretty good. All right.
All right. It was a nice move today. Was platinum.
Yes. Yes, it was. Platinum. That looks bullish as well. And we were talking yesterday about, let's take a look at the weekly on platinum really quick. Higher lows.
Oh my God.
Look at this steep angle on this market on the weekly. This is 5 weeks in a row of just straight up price action on the weekly. What a swing trade that would have been. Uh, Platinum is up almost 40% in the last 5 weeks. Uh, and it's consistent, right? It's not. We did see. Where did we see that big move? Was it copper after the copper's a little
Announcement.
bit
50%.
right?
That was a
Copper's
50% tariff. I'm
exactly.
sorry.
Yeah, this was the
It's hard to.
50% tariffs, but this move is a lot choppier. Platinum is just consistently grinding to the upside on the weekly. Where does this stop? No one knows. Uh, but I don't know. Going into next week, if we trade into 50% of this week's range, I may put this on as a swing trade. We haven't made a lower low on the weekly in 5 weeks now. Am I going to call the top? I'll take the risk. That is not financial advice. That is just for educational
It's,
purposes only. Uh,
it's an observation,
it's an observation.
but I don't know. We don't. Someone mentioned palladium. That's another one that's really starting. I don't think we can trade it, so we won't go through it. But
Right.
we see the theme, and the theme is big money, more international money is buying assets, and we're finding
Mm.
it in crypto and in metals. Um, boy, and when you see what politics and the Fed, that is not a good recipe for stability. And I think that this is where that's being reflected.
Yep.
Like, why would I buy your debt? I can just buy gold. And if you're going to cut rates, Well, let's think about it. If you're going to cut rates and I'm China or Japan,
Mhm.
you're going to
What's the
give
incentive for
me
me to
you give me less incentive to take your debt at record levels.
right?
I'll buy gold and platinum and
Point.
metals, Bitcoin. So we're seeing history.
You're seeing history. What a rally! Wow, platinum looks pretty damn strong. Starting last night, it kind of just took off. Took off in London, really, is where the volume came in, and that's been consistent over the past couple of days. So if you're up watching the markets, uh, and you're looking for something to trade during the London session, platinum might be the move. Looks like that's where the volume starts to pick up on the day. Give us some volatility. All right, let's take a look at crude oil. Had a pretty nice day today as well, up 2.97% on the day. Still moving, up 3.12%. Let's take a look at the weekly on crude. What are we seeing here, Coach Paul?
Nice recovery rally. Let's think that's the point right there. The 50% at the end. There's the 200 moving average. It was a tough trade too. But one of the things is I look at that like a huge candle that was a manipulative move by Saudi Arabia, who then kind of changed their mind a little bit halfway through the week. I find this we did settle over the 20 moving average on the daily, but man, we still have a lot of resistance here at this price. And what are we doing? We're curling inside of a range.
Yep.
So buy low, sell high is the theme there. It was a pretty steep rally today. Um,
Yeah, this looks holding the low of that range from the huge sell off day. We talked about it earlier in the week. Do we accept price inside this range? Does the market then trade through the rest of this imbalance? It looks like it started right, closing above that 20 moving average on the daily. Of course, headlines are going to move this market probably more than anything. But this going into next week looks pretty bullish as well. Uh, yeah, go ahead, Coach.
yeah. Um, let's look at the half hour.
Take a look at the half an hour. When do we think it started moving? A
Mhm. London's calling.
little later today. Here's the London Open right here. Initially looked like a sell in London. Uh,
Yeah,
Decent
broke
opportunity
out.
to the short side, maybe. Maybe you take this short here. Do you get a 2 to 1?
Yeah, take it. Yeah.
Nope.
I don't think so.
No, you don't. You got about a 1.5.
But also, and we talked that was there urgency there? Mm, not really. It took about one, two, three, four, five, six half-hour candles. So even take the sell, I can take the loss. I don't, didn't work. They don't understanding they don't work, but when they do and I'm 2 to 1, I'll take that. But let's see where the 200 bar moving average is. Yeah. So I still would have taken that trade. I don't
The short.
the short, right?
Yep.
No problem. I'll take the loss. But let's see what happens. So on the London opening, you framed out.
Once
What
we
happened
close,
on
once we close back above VWAP, that was kind of it for that trade.
okay, that becomes the opening. And as a matter of fact, I did practice getting up early. I can't.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to automate this.
Yeah.
Um, but look at London. I mean, there is the opening. We
Yep.
framed that out.
So this is the London Open here.
Okay,
We framed it out. We took the short, maybe got stopped out, and then we close above that London range.
and that's the close. That's the high of the day.
Hold on,
Um,
Coach. High of the day. What are you talking about? Am I looking in the same place you are?
No, the high of the day of the session at that time.
Okay, okay, yes, got you,
So
got you,
it's
got you.
making new. So and look what VWAP did. It started curling higher.
Started curling up, got you.
So like, we can read that. I don't want to try and sell it again. If I'm looking to buy it, oh, okay. Now that the flow is going with me, I can start framing out a strategy to buy it. To me, I would have lost early and well. I don't mind that, but what I don't want to do is start fighting the flow. In my younger days, I would have tried 10 different trades to get that money back by selling it. Um, and this is common. But look at that when that. So now, what can we assume when the VWAP turns around and curls and then leaves that range, and the session is making session highs at that time?
Selling is
Well,
stopped.
selling has stopped. It's been accumulated. I used to call this a hook trade. You got
Okay.
like a fish. You just the shorts got hooked, and now let's go forward.
Hold on one second before we do that. I just want to make sure this is recorded. Matthew says Crude 100 plus within 6 months market. Matthew, just in case you need to show your friends after, did make this call. Oh wait, where'd it go? Where'd it go? You had it. No, I lost it.
Oh,
Where did it go?
I'm glad you're a master of this, and you
There it
struggled with.
is.
There it is.
There it is. That's for Matthew. Crude 100 plus within 6 months market. That's for you, Matthew. You make the call, you got to trade it. But hey, maybe so.
Hey, that's possible.
It is. It
No,
is.
if seriously, I could make a case that I kind of I'd go with that. I mean, it's possible because I think inflation. Personally, I think inflation is going to come roaring back, and so if they cut rates,
Mm, yeah.
so
Yeah. $100. We haven't seen 100 in a while, but
gotta
hey,
see how much the $100 calls are.
buy one. Um, but okay, so we were saying you go back into now we have the New York session opening range here. First,
Hmm.
take a look at the
Hogue
opening
nailed that.
range. Did he? Did they take it this morning? I wasn't watching.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, and I think his offer was the last one he had. I think he sold right off the high.
Oh wow, what a trade!
That was a great trade.
What a trade! Opening range, 1 minute. We know Hogue and JD look at that all the time. We broke initially to the upside. Took a little while. We've seen Crude do this where this establishes a range, takes a little while to break it. 23 tick opening range, broke the high initially. And shout out to Hogue just getting in with the flow of the market and holding on to the trade. Where they normally set their risk, let's say you got long right here, is below the low of the opening range. And this is why they take that trade. It gets called out all the time on Top Step TV. It's like, oh, why do these guys keep taking this trade? It's so low probability. Every time they start the show, they're losing. Uh, But when you get one that works, when you get one that it loses with a one lot, they probably lose $250. This is a at the highs, and if Hogue sold it at the high, that's a 5-to-1 trade. So it makes up for a couple of the other losers that you might have taken, uh, and it set the trend for the rest of the day. So they say it all the time, low probability trade, but when it works out, you have to let it work, right? You can't just take it off at a half to one, because you got some green on the board. But letting this trade work is a huge winner on the day.
Yeah, I'm plus you. It's almost like buying out of the money calls. You know, you're
Yep.
taking little risk, but when you win, you can get 5-1. And doing it consistently, and that's the big thing is consistency. If you can't take a few 4 losses in a row and you feel like you have to have a winner on, you, it's not a good idea.
Yep.
Um, because if you flip a coin, that old thing, flipping a coin, you could get four 5, 6 heads in a row. But if you didn't manage your risk and you doubled down, you might not have anything left in your wallet to stay
Right.
around. So, um, yeah, nice trade.
For sure.
And another thing is he didn't fool around with it.
Nope. Let it work.
Took some profits on, I think it was 5 micros, and played with house money. Or as Hoke said, house money, that's my money.
Right. Right. Kevin had a comment in the chat. Don't know if you remember me from a couple weeks ago. Today I blew an XFA because I didn't wait for my setup strategy to play out, just for me to get a new combine and hit the half mark. Uh, I really need to start using the lockout button. Also, just realized today that you can lock yourself out until the next day. So Kevin, a couple things there. You lost the XFA. Hopefully, over time, the risk was managed in that XFA, so you didn't lose it all in one day. What I will say, you said you got to the half point in a new combine today. Just be conscious of the pace that you're trading at. Just be conscious of that pace. Like when you get your license for the first time and you can drive, it's like you don't want to start driving at 100 miles an hour really ever, but definitely not when you just get into a brand new car or get your license, right? Be conscious of the pace because when you get into the XFA, you're going to at least need to trade for 5 days in that XFA to get a payout. So, um, learn the lessons from it, use the tools that are made available to you. If you realize that overnight trading is just not for you, just hit the lockout button, right? Some people say, "Oh, can't you just have the discipline to not trade?" Yeah, you could. Could I build a house with no tools? I probably could. Be a shitty house. It might fall apart. So why not use the tools to your advantage? If you know that that's not your best trading time, uh, don't trade it. Lock it out, and then you don't even have the urge to try to trade during that time. And if I tried to build a house even with tools, it might be a shitty house. But I'm not that bad. I'm kind of handy. I'm kind of handy.
Are you?
Yeah, I can do some internal work, but building like a foundation, all that stuff, no.
Uh,
Install some recessed lighting, put up a shelf or something. I could do that for you.
you don't do
Uh,
plumbing, do you?
I absolutely not.
Don't ever do plumbing unless you're a
Absolutely not.
professional,
No.
because your risk reward is, yeah, you might get it in, but if you have a flood from plumbing, if
Yeah.
it's ever happened to you, and it happened to me when I was younger, uh, was way t I doubled my loss.
Yep. Yeah. The water is something that you do not play with.
No,
Water and over leverage, two things you don't mess with.
there you go.
Kevin says my problem is I feel like I have an addiction to trading. Kevin, you got to address that. Got to address that on your own. And we all might, right? We hear, all the time, like, oh yeah, I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I check. Uh, have the conversation with yourself. Is that truly a healthy habit, leading you in the direction of the goals that you have for trading? If it's not, make an adjustment. Make an adjustment. All right, Coach, we got a request for Ultra Bonds here.
Okay.
Uh, from who is this from? Who requested Ultra Bonds? Saw your name in there. But because there was a question
Um,
that went along with it.
from Chair Powell?
No. This is from Khadijah. Can we look at the Ultra Bonds and could you explain the consequence of lowering interest rate? That is a Coach Paul question, so I'm going to throw that one to you.
Can you repeat that?
Can we look at the Ultra Bonds and can you explain the consequences of lowering interest rates?
Oh, well, yeah, good question. So we're looking at the ultra bonds, and they have never recovered from, which tariff was that? Was that that the huge down day? Was that April? Either way, we're trending lower, and the consequences for cutting rates too early is inflation. What do I mean by inflation? Well, if you have easy credit, it allows more demand, and it chases more money. Think of playing Monopoly. I think everybody in the world's played Monopoly once. Well, and then there's always the discussion. I won't play if you put all the money in, if you land on go
Free
or
parking?
free parking. If you land on free parking, you get the pot. That just keeps the game going. That's inflation. It's not part of the rules. It's a made up rule that people use. And it goes against principles of the game. The principle of the game is to own the real estate and get paid. Now, what this is what inflation does. Free parking gets that, so people it can play without being penalized. So it inflates the monopoly money. I know people that will even create more money because it's not the objective. That's what inflation does. It more money chasing same amount of goods. What happens? The prices of those goods go up without without demand. So without demand, I bet you get penalized. Um, and that's what can happen. We're getting and but the f- the Fed can control to some extent short-term rates, 2 year, 5 year. Farther you go out, and then you get to the ultra bond, they can't control it. They can manipulate it for a short period of time, but they can't control it. So then, if inflation it starts going up and the rates are of going down, what's going to happen? Well, first of all, as a debtor nation, we have to sell our debt. Someone has to buy it. And now you're enticing them. You have to entice someone
Yep.
to buy it. In the background is, well, you're going to give me, you're going to pay me less to take more risk.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that. I can say, so it's going to cut
You're
off
paying you're
buyers.
paying me less to take a currency that's being devalued.
Depreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Devalued, depreciated.
Yeah, that's
That's that's why go to Bitcoin, go to gold. You can't. And who's doing that? Most likely other countries. I mean, you can bully them in politics for a certain amount. You don't have to buy U.S. debt, especially if rates are going down. But my risk, think about it. We talk about risk war all the time. My risk that you're not going to make good on your promise on your bond that you're assigning me for 20 to 30 years. There has to be some premium for that. So another word for that is stagflation, and we'll go more into that. That was the biggest fear in the 80s, and I think you're going to start seeing that come out, stagflation. Um, so great question. I hope that helps you um, and brings some light to it.
awesome stuff. Thank you, Coach Paul. Yamil says, with these ranges as of recently, was the MES really difficult to trade? I want to make the switch already from MNQ. It's not really difficult to trade. Uh, guys, I'm gonna give you a hint here for everyone. There is no perfect market. There is no perfect time to trade. It's always going to change. The minute you hear someone say, "Oh, the London session has been really good," and you then try to go over there and then it's choppy, and then the New York session is really good, you're going to be confused and you're going to say, well, what time am I supposed to trade? When are the best trades going to happen? The best trades happen when you're at your desk, when you're in front of the markets prepared to trade, and your setup presents itself. If your setup doesn't present itself within those hours, no trade. Right? We have to think like business owners. If you want to be the business owner who runs your business 23 hours of the day, uh, by all means, go ahead. That's a labor intensive business, and the mental capital that you need to be able to do that is a lot. I don't try to do that. There are times where I don't want to look at the charts at all. I don't want to know that they exist. Uh, is when I want to sleep or prioritize other things in life. Um, I don't want to be thinking about the charts. Do I check them pretty frequently? Yeah, but for me, I've realized that most of my better trading happens during the New York session, so that's when I'm going to do most of my trading. The overnight results can vary. There is no perfect answer. So if you want to make the switch from MNQ to MES, but you're concerned about the MES price fluctuations, maybe it's a slower market. It's always going to be a slower market. So if you're struggling with the Nasdaq, change tomorrow. Change Monday when we open up again. Uh, it's always going to be a slower market. So just accept that going into it, and then it makes it a lot easier. Uh, but again, no perfect market, no perfect time to trade. Identify your setups. If they present themselves when you're looking at the charts, take the trade. Or do set and forget trades. Pick a level, set a bid, and let the market go from there.
Great advice, coach.
And Maui Man says, hit the like button.
Hit
Hit the like
the
button. Hit the like button. All right. Can I explain sleep? Never heard of it. I think the jury's still out whether or not sleep is actually necessary. I'm gonna say yes.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know what
say yes.
jury that is.
I'm gonna say yes.
um,
It's like, why do
by the
humans
way,
need sleep?
it's true. We can joke about it, but hey, you have to think like an athlete. When you want good you want peak performance in your trading. Well, you better have peak performance in your mind and body. They work hand in hand. Um, if you are sleep deprived, like when we coach basketball, especially with young kids in grammar school, I can see they come into a game and they're not fully into it, and especially if it's a Saturday morning tournament. And I know I quit playing video games myself
Hmm.
when I'm not a kid. Well, were you up till like 1 in the morning playing video games? And I get that
Yep.
look of guilt. No. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were. Because you can't perform at a peak performance unless you get the right amount of sleep. You're human.
Yep.
It works here too. I know that I get slow. I didn't sleep well last night. It affected my performance. I was a little slow. I missed some opportunities. Um, and that's on me. But in sincerity, if you really want to focus on being a peak performer, you have to check off all the boxes. You can't be sleep deprived. You want to you're making decisions under pressure with uncertainty
Against the best competition
constantly.
in the world.
Yeah, you better be on your game. So, put that in your trading plan.
Yep. 100%. Bullet traders, you have a good weekend. Have a good weekend. All right. Any other markets we want to go over?
Let's look at the weekly and the bonds. I'm just curious.
All right, cool. And then for Paul H, I made a reference. Paul asked a question and said, if a single company has a 4 trillion market cap, doesn't that increase the risk of loss and stability? That company breaks. I don't think it will happen, but a lot of eggs in one basket. 100%, 13% of the Nasdaq. I made a reference to Paul. I said, toothpicks and bubblegum are holding up this market, and
Toothpicks and bubble gum.
right,
Love it.
that's the foundation, right? 40% of the Nasdaq is 5 companies. Everything else, who knows? So if Nvidia breaks, what foundation? And again, that's a crazy hypothetical. Do we see Nvidia shutting down or failing anytime soon? Probably not. But if it does, what is there to hold equity markets up? Toothpicks and bubblegum. Okay, here's the weekly on the ultra bonds, Coach Paul.
Okay. Look at okay, that was the first tariff announcement, that huge candle. I mean, that just sticks out like a middle finger. Right? We're
This one.
not we have not recovered from that. So what is that really? Let's see. What is the other side? The other side is there's no demand for this bond.
Right.
The the rally was it's like there's an old term called pushing on a string,
Hmm.
and uh, I mean, this is a downtrend, heavy downtrend, and just like if gold, if we flip that over, it's almost the opposite of gold.
Yep.
Look at that. So, but going back to our theme is, you know, you can play games in the short term. You're going, U.S. debt will need to yield a higher, um, have higher yields to get filled.
Right.
That's what that I see in that chart. And that to me is, I think that has a very good probability of continuing, especially
Look.
if you see Chair Powell all of a sudden resigned because he didn't do it voluntarily.
Right. Right. He said a couple times that he wouldn't. So a couple of times. All right. I think we did it.
Good.
I think we
Yeah, I
did it.
think we did.
We got through all the questions. Uh, Shout out to Paul H. Had your biggest single trade today in your XFA after 13 red days in a row, but Coach Paul's 12.5% rule saving your account. Biggest single trade today ever. Congrats. That is huge.
Wow.
Uh, that's
Great to
huge.
hear.
And hey, you had your back against the ropes, implemented some rules that'll keep you in the game, and then you could hit one. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Sounds like you MacGyvered that.
Yeah, yeah,
You had something.
right.
Um, that's great to hear. And I'm just that is risk management at its finest. Great job.
So, all right, coach, let's see if we can help one more of our viewers here. Courtney says, I've been stuck at break even. I sized down reduce risk at the beginning of the year, but I think I've overcorrected. My cautious, thoughtful trading has morphed into being a chicken shit. How do I fix it? Courtney's words, not mine.
So you size down
In
and you're
volatility.
going nowhere. So you're not taking any risk.
Mm,
And which is you're being defensive. That's now go back, see compare your results to your plan and see where you need to size up. If you're taking the same amount of risk as you were in April or same size, you're not going to get the same results. But maybe start input, look at the average true range and start thinking in units of risk rather than contracts. When you start thinking of units at risk, you've watched the ATR, you can naturally put on more size. Um, that's my first thought on that.
yep. A lot of people saying they have this issue, right? Size down in the beginning of the year, and you heard us all say it, right? March, April, everyone was saying size down because of the extreme volatility. Coach Paul just mentioned that ATR. Let's take a look at this real quick on the NASDAQ. That ATR value was almost four times what we see it right now. Right? That ATR has come down
To
almost
normal.
70% from the high. Um, and it's almost lower than over the past couple of days. This is a 14-day ATR. It's lower than some of 2024 that we've seen. Now, can that pick up? It can. Is it going to just spike back up to 800 points in a day? Probably not, right? Could we have an outlier day where some crazy headline drops? Yes, but so far over the past 2 months or so, the ranges have come down. So, like Coach Paul said, maybe you can put on a little bit more risk than you have been. Um, you probably have to hold on to trades a little bit longer than you did early on in the year, just because the volatility has come down. But the business here is risk, and there's no way to probably succeed in this business without risk. So, uh, family stuff at the beginning of the year, so I thought it was wise to size down. I need to get my pit bull back, and like Coach Paul said, assess your strategy. Right, assess your strategy. Is it working? Is it actually working, and you're just not part of it? Because if that's the case, then again, this is a business of assessing and taking risk. And uh,
Yeah.
Do it slowly though. I wouldn't, you know. Go ahead, coach. Or
Yeah,
not rip the band-aid off.
no, I was going to say there was also there's some family stuff at the beginning of the year, and I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up, and I hope that works out for you. But when you have some family issues or personal issues, then you need to take that in account. And I think that was a very good decision for you to size down
Yep.
because there's we talked about being at peak performance. When you have emotional issues, it it uh, it affects your decision making. So go back to the ATR, size up slowly. If you're back down to 1 micro, that's why I go into units. 1 micro is the 1 unit, two
Mm.
units of risk, and start building it up slowly.
Go. There we go. All right. Thank you, Coach Paul. For anyone having that issue, you got the advice there. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. Uh,
Yeah, and you've been pretty good.
yep.
So
Yeah, I have no doubts. But let's get going into the weekend. Happy Friday,
yeah.
everyone. Coach Paul, you got any words before we go?
Just finished with what Courtney did. Understanding it and your emotional and physical state is a big part. We don't talk about it enough. So understand that, um, and that how that affects your decision making. And one of the things in the weekend, just review the trades you made this week and see if you're making emotional decisions. So that will help you determine to be in physical and emotional shape as well as trying to trade well. And have a great weekend.
Awesome stuff. Have a great weekend, everyone. Coach Hoop is doing his class in Discord in about 3 minutes. Um, but after that, enjoy your weekends. Do something fun this weekend. Uh, Anne Marie and Mohammed are going to be opening the week with the market kickoff Sunday at 4:45 Central Time. Then we have Aaron doing the London Open at 1:30 a.m. Central, D at 3:30, and I will be on the opening call on Monday. So I'll see you all then. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Have a great weekend.